This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It's been a while since I've seen you. 500 miles southbound. Your hesitation speaks volumes, and I can't turn it down now. Are you listening? Are you
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I know that. I know that by now. Man, how many years has it been that we should have made this discovery? Anyways, how are you? Because, the last 23 hours have definitely been something for the record books. That is for sure. We can probably talk about that if you want here in just a bit. So anyways, today is Friday, February the 3rd of 2023. Day 34 of the year and only 331 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando. Yeah, I like saying that. I like saying on how we're broadcasting from Orlando, because that way when we broadcast from somewhere else, you kind of know that. And so I know that for the visual people, the visual radio people, it is easy for me to say that because they go, well, you don't have to tell me that because I can tell you're in Orlando. But as this world continues to change for me, you will see that I have to tell you where I'm from and where I'm at and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyways, we're broadcasting from Orlando, and we are going across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and that's because of all the different plethora of things that we have going on. That's part of it. And then, of course, we are hanging out with our friends that are doing the stuff that they do on the iHeart Radio side of the house over there, and, it's the group over there.
Radio. USA, Canada, UK.
So, just to make clear on that, USA, Canada, UK, that means that we have the rights to broadcast in those three countries using the radio big side of the house, where with Safety FM, we can go anywhere at any time, just depending on how you pick us up. So there you go. That's just in case if there's ever been questions on what the hell any of that stuff means. So let me start talking about this because yesterday was extremely interesting. Today, we'll see how things go because it's still relatively early in the morning, depending on what you consider early and I consider early. But we are still, been talking about our little event that's coming up. Oops, that's definitely not the event. This event right here, the Safety Differently Workshop, that's taking place between March the 6th and through the 9th. So I have to tell you, I have been impressed over the last, let's say 48 hours, that we had a small problem with the system, and all of a sudden, once the problem was corrected, it was the onslaught of people purchasing tickets to this thing. There are still some tickets available. Yeah, I won't lie about that. There still are some tickets available for this event in March. That's March 6th through the 9th, Safety Differently workshop. Presented by Safety FM, but is hosted by Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, and myself. We would love for you to come out and hang out with us. That's for sure. There is no doubt about that. But there's been a lot of movement and the stuff going on there. So definitely trying to make this a little bit different than probably some of the other interactions that you've had with our station as we've been putting on these events. So there you go. There you go. Can't wait to see you there if you decide to go. Anyways, let's talk real quick because as you know, things are changing. It is Friday, so that means that it's Freeform Friday. It means that we're going to talk a little bit about everything. All the garbage that we normally don't talk about, we'll talk about a little bit more today. And we'll go from there. And I want to make sure that as I'm going through this, I do reference that I do pay attention to the messaging that comes through on call-in radio. If you send it to me on social media, I'm not being an asshole by ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. What happens is I don't see it until most of the times post-show. And people get upset at me like, hey, you ignored my comment. I understand that you're busy. It's like, no, it's not that I'm busy. It's that just not where I'm checking. Believe me, I love the interaction. The messaging is the important portion on when I see it. I mean, you can call in. I am very terrible in regards of answering. That's the problem. So there you go. But I guess we'll determine more of that as we go along. Anyways, let me get off the jargon stuff. And let's get into what's important. And what is important? Well, we need to start talking about what's coming up and what was trending.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about this real quick. The Chinese appear to be openly spying on the U.S. from the air, and so something that was kind of making the rounds yesterday on the social trends. Guinness has found the oldest ever recorded dog. We'll talk about that. More creepy texts that are by Hunter Biden, an obscure former mayor, enters the 2024 presidential fray. We can talk about that inside of the swamp. Allison Brie is proud of her body. Okay, that's good for her. And Rupert Grint wants to raise a Potterhead. I don't know what that means. Kris Jenner officiates a surprise vow renewal. We can talk about that if you want to know that. See, this is why sometimes I have a hard time talking about what's in the trends. And Australia takes another step to distance itself from the British monarchy. So there you go. That's what's going on inside of there. So I always wonder on Fridays, because we talk a little bit about everything, how much do you care about what I dive into? Because I can go very dark and obscure to very lighthearted and lovely. So it just depends on what you're looking for. But I guess we can talk about that as we are going. So with that being said, if you're not familiar with the show, we talk about safety in the news and safety. Freeform Friday kind of messes some of that stuff up because we talk a little bit about everything. So I could be on this subject and jump around and be on that subject and jump around to something else. But then again, it's no different than any other day of the week if you really think about it. I guess really if you look at it is most of the times on Fridays, I don't give you a level of a main story. Maybe that's the way to look at it. So with that being said, I want you to take a moment, sit back, relax, as we bring in the professional broadcasters for them to tell you what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. President Biden is hoping the death of Tyree Nichols leads to swift congressional action on police reform. He spoke about Wednesday's celebration of life ceremony for Nichols.
I listened to Al Sharpton's eulogy, which I thought was first rate, and we got to stay at it as long as it takes.
Biden made the comments on Thursday before he and Vice President Harris met with members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Economists expect to see continued strong jobs growth in January. The Labor Department will be out with last month's jobs and unemployment figures Friday morning. The unemployment rate is expected to rise slightly to 3.6% from December's 50-year low of 3.5%. The experts predict further slowing in wage growth, giving some comfort to the Federal Reserve in its ongoing fight against inflation. The numbers are due at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. A suspected Chinese spy balloon is being monitored by the U.S. government after it was seen hovering over the northern part of the country for the last few days. Brian Shook reports.
The high-altitude balloon was spotted over Billings, Montana on Wednesday, flying in through Canada. A senior defense official says it's still flying over the country, but did not say where exactly. Officials have also discussed shooting it out of the sky. I'm Brian Shook.
A majority of U.S. adults support banning the sale of all tobacco products. That's according to a new study by the CDC, which polled more than 6,000 Americans in 2021. Nearly two-thirds of those surveyed said they supported ending menthol cigarette sales. Cigarette smoking remains the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the U.S. It's estimated that more than 30 million Americans currently smoke. And actor Dwayne Johnson's mother, Ada Johnson, is recovering from a serious car crash in Los Angeles. The action movie star known as The Rock during his pro wrestling days said it's a miracle his mother survived the crash on Wednesday night. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers wants President Biden to elevate a key government position focused on drug control. Lisa Taylor explains.
In a letter, members of Congress called on Biden to reinstate the director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy to a cabinet-level position. They said doing so can help better address the overdose epidemic in the U.S. The move would enable the ONDCP to better coordinate drug control efforts across federal agencies. The opioid epidemic kills more than 100,000 Americans each year. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Up to 40 countries could boycott the 2024 Olympic Games. That's according to Poland's sport and tourism minister, who said if that happens, the whole event would be pointless. His comments came after Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia rejected an International Olympic Committee plan to allow Russians to compete in 2024. Ukraine has already threatened to boycott the Paris Olympics if Russia is allowed to compete. The IOC is trying to find a way to allow Russian athletes to compete under a neutral flag, prompting the UK to openly condemn their plan. The U.S. has also supported suspending Russian athletes from competition. The Grammys are set to honor the 50th anniversary of hip-hop with an all-star performance. Trey Thomas fills us in.
Those being tapped to perform include Missy Elliott, Public Enemy, Grandmaster Flash, and Lil Wayne. Also performing is Run DMC, Rakim, and Queen Latifah. LL Cool J will introduce the segment and give a dedication to the genre. The Grammys take place this Sunday in Los Angeles. I'm Trey Thomas.
And Groundhog Day in Canada turned into a somber affair when the nation's weather-predicting groundhog was found dead. Fred Lamarmont was found dead hours before he could make his annual prediction on Thursday morning. The organizer of the event said he tried to wake Fred from hibernation overnight, but there were no vital signs. Organizers believe Fred, who was 9 years old, died in hibernation late last year. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now? That live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much, from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You can say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch.
Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this Viernes. Yes, that's what's going on. So let's start talking real quick about some of the stuff that's going on inside of the world of the shit list, because that's what I call it, because it's definitely not a hit list. Oh, I so told myself that I need to stop popping people's ears when doing that. So once again, I apologize. You know, bad habit. You get into them, you continue to do them, and I'm popping the peas over here, doing all that kind of fun stuff. Take a listen to this. A Chinese spy balloon has been reportedly floating over the northern United States for a few days this week. The Wall Street Journal reports that it was first spotted 2 days ago by the U.S. military. President Joe Biden has proposed shooting it down, but the Pentagon has opposed doing so over civilian casualties. Expect the story to continue to develop. So you've already heard that our professional broadcasters reference it. I have referenced it. So I think this one's going to be interesting as we continue to move forward. Anyways, a new effort to analyze DNA found in soil samples from the northern Greenland shed some light on the area of what it was like 2 million years ago. The findings suggest a lush Arctic landscape full of plants and animals, including non-extinct mastodons living alongside various types of reindeer, caribous, geese, hares, and lemmings, and likely horseshoe crabs and green algae. Yeah, green algae. It is believed that the average temperature was between 20 to 34 degrees warmer than they are now in the area. However, the samples can't determine whether the animals are lived concurrently. So that's going to be the only thing. So maybe you had a little bit of this, maybe you had a little bit of that, but we cannot tell if you were together. Anyways, here's one reason to keep up 24/7 mask wearing. Just so you know, a study in Seoul National University in South Korea found that people who do not view themselves as particularly attractive believe that surgical masks enhance their looks. Our findings suggest that mask wearing can shift from being a self-protection measure during COVID-19 pandemic to presentation tactic in the post-pandemic era, the study concluded. So I want to make sure that I understand this. You believe, based on this study, of course, that you are not attractive. And so you wearing a surgical mask will help you improve your looks. I mean, am I getting that accurate, or am I kind of thinking about something else here? So that's kind of an interesting one. I mean, let's not lie. Because I think that if you go around still wearing a mask, depending in the area that you're in, because that's going to be a key factor, people will give you what I call the look. Yeah, the look. I remember I want to say it was probably where we're at right now. I want to say in October. In October, I got onto a flight, and I wore a mask. And it wasn't that I wore a mask because I was afraid something was going to happen. I wore a mask because I got the sniffles, the running of the nose crap. And I was like, hey, I'm not sick because I tested, blah, 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 blah. And I got on. And I remember getting the look. You know what I'm saying? The look. And I guess it was either people not happy that I was wearing a mask, or it wasn't enhancing, well, my looks.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, 3 different men have reported getting knocked out unconscious and robbed after visiting the same gay bar in New York City. The separate incidents happened in October and November, and each time the men were out between $1,000 and $5,000. Who the hell carries between $1,000 and $5,000 with them? Anyways, they believe that after getting drugged and passing out, that the perpetrator used their phone Face ID technology to log in and use apps like Venmo or PayPal to drain their digital wallets. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Hold on. I thought that the technology was not supposed to allow you to actually get Face ID'd if it didn't see you with your eyes open. Wasn't that kind of like the thing at the very beginning? Anyways, the 2 other people who stayed at the hotel near the bar but did not patronize it. Reported the similar robbery schemes. Investigators believe that the same group of criminals are running the crime. Can we get the name of the hotel or the bar? I mean, that would be kind of an interesting one. So take a listen to this. Bobby the dog is not just the oldest living dog. He's also the oldest dog ever recorded. As of today, the 30-year-old, 268-day-old, beating the last record of 29 years and 5 months set by an Australian cattle dog that died in 1939. Bobby has spent his life in the rural village of Portugal, much of it with the same family. What do you mean much of it with the same family? Shouldn't it have been with the same family? Do you just ditch a dog? Okay, anyways. Veterinary records confirmed that he was born back in May 11th of 1992. Bobby's owners say that he's never been attached to a leash and has been free to roam through the forest and farmlands. So there you go. If you want to make your dog live longer, there you go. Some stuff going on right there. Anyways, let's talk about it. Not sure if you have a lot of stuff going on this weekend. If you do or if you don't, let me tell you about stuff that's going on to the video on demand services in case you are interested in doing some of those. New to Netflix this weekend, it will be Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. Call Me By Your Name, Enough, It, Julie and Julia, La La Land, Lord of the Rings, all 3 of them, by the way, Spanglish, and Stepmom. New to HBO Max, a bunch of James Bond flicks, Scary Movie 1 through 3, Superbad, Taxi Driver, Tommy Boy, and Wayne's World 1 and 2. New to Hulu will be The Help, The Green Mile, and Something's Got to Give. So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff going on right there as we are speaking. Anyways, take a listen to this coming out of some pro wrestling news. Pro wrestling star Leaping Lanny Poffo has died. Hacksaw Jim Duggan made the announcement on Instagram on Thursday, but shared no cause of death. Poffo was 68 at the time of his passing. Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I heard that yesterday. I thought it was a goof at first. You know how every once in a while you'll hear that somebody died that didn't die, blah, blah. I mean, Poffo, if you're not familiar with Poffo, you might be familiar with his brother. His brother being Randy Macho Man Savage. So there you go. His brother passed away. I want to say it was back in 2011, age of 58, cardiac arrest. So don't even know what to say when you get into moments like that, that's for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit. Not that I want to bring or devalue, but, you know, he will definitely be a huge loss to the wrestling community. The last time I remember seeing him was at the induction of his brother's Hall of Fame career a few years back. Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about some things that are going on in the market, and there's nobody that I know better to tell you about what the hell's going on than John Smalls, so let's bring him in.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, February 3rd, 2023. Equity markets surged on better-than-expected results from Facebook parent Meta platforms. The news sent the stock up more than 20% and the Nasdaq more than 3%, but both closed well off their highs. The takeaway from the report is that business has bottomed, but there are still hurdles ahead, so investors should be wary of the surge in prices. The S&P 500 gained more than 1.25% on Wednesday and broke above 4150. This is a potentially bullish move for the market, but risk is still ahead. The 4300 level marks the top of a significant resistance range and needs to be broken for the rally to continue. If not, this market may peak soon and begin to move lower. The forward outlook for earnings continues to weaken, and that is what will drive the market into the end of Q1 and the start of Q2 2023. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the great information on what's going on. It's kind of scary when you start thinking end of Q1, because we're already in February. I mean, just like that. Well, even though at first it seemed like January lasted like 8 months, like this is the 8th month of January. I mean, it kind of felt kind of long. But now we're just moving and grooving into it. So let me tell you a little bit about the stuff that I found. The Dow lost about 39 points to close at 34,053 points on Thursday. The S&P added about 60 points to close at 4,179, and the Nasdaq added about 384 points to close at 12,200. It did kind of muddled in a large part by 23% of stock surge of Meta. So there you go. That did happen yesterday. West Texas Intermediate closed at $76 a barrel. Brent crude closed at $82 a barrel. The average price of a gallon of gas was $3.49. Bitcoin slipped on Thursday, trading just around 23,500. There were more than 3,080 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and more than 770 cancellations. Yeah, close friend of mine was stuck in one of those yesterday. He was not a happy camper. We can talk about that later if you want. Anyways, Thursday night's Mega Million drawing is for $20 million or a $10.6 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for $700 million or a $375.7 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, play it. So here you go. Let's talk about some things going on real quick. Some albums dropping today just for the sake of talking about them. Shania Twain, Queen of Me comes out. Young Father, Heavy, The Go Team, Get Up the Sequence Part 2, and Shania Twain, and let's see, John Frusciante, 1 and 2. Yeah, just 1 and 2. That's all it's called, 1 and 2. I don't know. I mean, is there something else? It's just called 1 and 2. Simplicity in names, I guess, is what it boils down to. What else do I have for you? Let's talk about this real quick. An innocent bystander who was injured by deputies at the end of a county police chase. Listen to me. Police chase is filing a lawsuit against the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. The man says the deputies beat him up for no reason, and he got caught up in the intersection where the chase ended in Hacienda Heights on November the 9th.
Hopped out the car like any father would do and got my wife and my son to safety. And I was doing that, about 5 cops started smashing me.
start smashing you. This was the widely televised police chase that went out on several hours and featured the suspect stealing 2 work vehicles. The man's lawsuit claims a civil rights violation, including excessive force, an unlawful search and seizure, plus battery, negligence, false arrest, negligent infliction of emotional distress. He is also suing on behalf of his wife and 12-year-old son, who were in the car with him. The man says the deputy started beating him up once he got out of his own car.
They beat me, kicked me, kneed me.
The man says that he tried to tell the deputies that he wasn't the suspect.
They didn't want to hear anything I had to say. They still detained me and put me in the back of the car and treated me as if I was the suspect.
The man's son says that it was tough to watch what happened to his father.
It was very shocking and depressing to watch my dad get brutally attacked by the deputies.
Okay, hold on. So, see, I understand. I understand that if something goes down and it's not done correctly, yeah, things need to have some level of should we call it consequences? We should say it should have some level of what should happen next in a court of law. But do you really think that kid uses the term brutally attacked in his normal language? I mean, I don't know. That seems a little bit advanced, but then again, I was kind of an idiot kid, and now that I think about it, I'm kind of an idiot adult. Who knows?
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. Colorado is seeing a sharp spike in gas prices recently. Skylar McKinley with AAA Colorado says the prices are rising for the 4th straight week. It's a direct result of the Suncor refinery shutdown.
How quickly they're rising in Colorado is almost entirely attributable to the fact that we lost a lot of our supply here in the state, and it just costs more to truck, train, and pipeline fuel into Colorado than refine it on site.
GasBuddy.com puts Colorado as having some of the highest gas prices in the country. The average for a gallon of gas of regular unleaded has the cost of $2. Hold on, it says $2.91 last month, but now it is at $3.89. Suncor refinery outside of Commerce City is responsible for 35 to 40% of the state's gas and diesel market. A series of safety concerns resulted in the shutdown at the end of December. The company says that they're being repaired and putting the facility back on track to reopen in March. Skylar McKinley with AAA says that the drivers in the state may have to get used to the higher prices for a while with the March opening date for Suncor refinery.
Time of the year, generally when we start to see gas prices tick up anyway because of seasonal demands. It is in the springtime when folks go on spring vacation, into the summer months.
Yes, it is springtime when people go in spring vacation. I agree with that sentiment. That sentiment would be definitely it. So interesting to see what impact Suncor is having across the board right there in regards of what is going on. So interesting times as prices of fuel continue to go up. Anyways, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour. Just in case if you were wondering what the hell was going on, you are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. There is no doubt about that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Story news in London. I'm Ollie Barrett. US defense officials say they're tracking a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon flying over the US. A Pentagon spokesperson says it's traveling at an altitude well above commercial air traffic and doesn't pose a threat. It comes ahead of a visit by US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to Beijing, as Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
We've just heard about this spy balloon, which is certainly not great ahead of these talks, which were kind of a sign that perhaps engagement was stepping up between these two global superpowers who've had such a terrible relationship over the past few years, and certainly news that the Pentagon is tracking this spy balloon will not help to thaw those relations. But on the positive side, Antony Blinken will become the first Secretary of State, US Secretary of State, to meet the Chinese president in nearly 6 years. The last one to visit, Mike Pompeo, who was Secretary of State during Donald Trump's time in office, was not able to meet with Xi Jinping. So things do look slightly better, but clearly there's still a huge amount of issues between the two countries. The issue of Taiwan, the war in Ukraine, and the Chinese refusal to condemn Russia, to name just a couple. And now we also have a Chinese spy balloon suspected over the continental USA.
Australian tennis player Nick Kyrgios has admitted assaulting a former girlfriend. The 27-year-old avoided a criminal conviction for pushing Chiara Passari onto a pavement, with the magistrate calling it a single act of stupidity or frustration. The UK could be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of cancer diagnoses by 2040. That's the warning from Cancer Research UK Chief Clinician Charles Swanton.
We're predicting an increase in number of cancer deaths. So Cancer Research UK have predicted approximately 20% increase in the number of cancer deaths from about 167,000 a year today to about 208,000 a year in 2040. And so if we're seeing a 30% rise in the number of cancers over the next 15 years, we really ought to start training the doctors and nurses required to treat those patients now, since it takes 15 years to train a medical professional.
Hong Kong's giving away 500,000 plane tickets as part of a campaign to boost its image as a tourism and business hub. Richard Kimber reports from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong's chief executive is touting this as perhaps the world's biggest welcome package ever, and the government is certainly spending millions of US dollars on making it happen. The government is not just giving away hundreds of thousands of flight tickets, it will also give away more than 1 million spending vouchers for tourists when they arrive in the city in the coming months, and organising large-scale business delegations for professionals from the city to head overseas and spread the word that the Hong Kong economy is back up and running and open for business.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. India's Adani Group has met obligations on US bonds, even despite a share rout. Market losses have climbed to more than $100 billion after a US short seller accused the company of stock manipulation. Adani Group's reportedly planning to issue a credit report to address liquidity concerns. Ishan Girg has more.
If it does come out with a credit report, it'll make it clear the quality of the debt and its ability to service it, how much money can it actually pay out on its debt. And that will allay concerns among investors who are worried if the Adani Group can actually pay it back or not. At the same time, it will also allay wider concerns in the Indian market, where now many are worried that if Adani isn't able to service its debt, a lot of which it owes to Indian public sector banks, that could cause a meltdown in the market. So a credit report would not only try and ensure some of the confidence back in the Adani Group, but it will also help investors allay concerns about the situation of the Indian banks that have lent billions of dollars to Adani Group.
Japan and India are looking to improve communication amidst heightened security tensions in the region. Foreign ministers from the two countries have spoken to explore how to mend strained bilateral relations. Nora Vinek reports from Tokyo.
It was the first conversation between the two foreign ministers since China's Qin Gang was appointed in December. In a 50-minute phone call, he agreed with his Japanese counterpart Yoshimasa Hayashi to continue communicating closely. Foreign Minister Hayashi expressed serious concern about intensifying Chinese military activities near Japan. He added Japanese public opinion on China is extremely severe and called for China to lift its ban on Japan food imports, which has been in place since the 2011 Fukushima nuclear meltdown. In return, China repeated concerns about Japan's plan to discharge wastewater from the Fukushima plant into the Pacific Ocean and hoped Japan will be cautious on its words and actions on major issues in the future.
That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage. I'm talking truth.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. We are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Our numero uno of the Jay Allen of the Morning Show. And this little songy-ongy over here is called Missing You Now by Drew Elliott. Yeah, we would like to thank Drew Elliott for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. You can take a little stream of it if you'd like, little download-y-oty like I like to call it, from Spotify or iTunes. I believe it's on YouTube Music too, but don't get me lying. By the way, what is your preferred platform? I mean, there's so many of them now. I mean, I'll tell you, I was hanging out on iHeart, and I didn't even realize that they even had a similar platform, and we're on it. Anyways, thanks to Drew Elliott for allowing us to play this here. And let's get back into the stuff that we're doing. So before I get into the next thing that I'm going to tell you, I wanted to bring this up. So last night there was a discussion online on if you were going to start off the journey of the different books written by Todd Conklin, where would you start? And the person had listed several books that he had written. And for sure, where do you want to start the journey? I would say you would want to start the journey at the very beginning. And if you're not familiar with this book, and if you're on the visual side, you know what I'm showing you. If you're on the radio side, well, you have no clue what I'm doing. But this little book here called Simple Revolutionary Acts, well, I think it's exactly that. It's quite revolutionary. If you have not read this book, I would strongly recommend reading it, especially if you're going through the journey of HOP or wanting to start it. And if you just kind of want to overall become a better person, I would almost say that this is the book to go with. This is one of my favorite books, and not just because I know Todd. It's one of my favorite books because it's just one of my favorite books, period. Now, I don't know if I should go as far as saying this. Maybe I should. I have been told that I could actually revise this book if I'm so inclined to do so. And I've been thinking about it for some time, but you know how there is work that is almost perfect? I think it falls into that category when you're going down the path. I don't know. We'll take a look at it at some point in my lifetime, I'm sure. But anyway, Simple Revolutionary Acts, that would be where you would want to start that journey. The other side is if you go to safetyfmplus.com, the book is free download via PDF. So there you go. Some options for you if you're so inclined to take a look-see-ooksy at it. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. No, seriously, I'm not joking as I say that. And that's about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is the following. Go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. If you don't want to go online, you can call them at 988, or you have the option of doing a text message at 988. Listen, I understand life is not easy. Things sometimes are extremely difficult, and we all need a little help sometimes. 988lifeline.org. That will get everything moving and grooving for you, and we can go from there. There you go. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Let's talk a little bit about some things that are going on, and it is Friday, so we get a little bit weirdy-yeardy when it comes to stuff, but get ready because the Stallones are going all Kardashian on us. Yes, Paramount Plus has announced that the family Stallone, it will follow Sylvester Stallone, wife Jennifer Flavin Stallone, and daughter Sophia Sistine and Scarlett. The show synopsis says that while he's the man, the myth, and the legend to the world, Stallone is simply known as dad to his daughters. While he headlines box office smash hits, at home he focused on building the future and raising 3 independent and ambitious women. The series will also explore Jennifer's entrepreneurship. She is also the co-owner of the wellness brand Serious Skincare. The 8-part reality series will debut on the streaming service this spring. Also, I want you to know, in case if you did not know this, Paramount Plus has officially started their own thing now with Showtime. And don't get me wrong, you could do Showtime as an add-on for some time now. But now it is one service. And I guess they're following HBO Max's idea of what they're going to do with Discovery. And the service, they decided to release the name Paramount Plus with Showtime. I mean, I don't know. It sounds so intuitive on how that is. Like, I have to tell you, I like Sirius XM. But at one point in life, Sirius was a separate company. XM was another company. When you look at your radio stations in your car, you have AM and you have FM, so XM sounded great. Sirius XM, when they decided to make the merger, so Sirius and XM, That was the name they decided on because Sirius was the more popular brand, and that was it. I thought it was always so strange because XM had such a good ring to it. But I guess that's just me kind of talking about some weird stuff that I shouldn't be talking about because I really have no dog in this race, but that's just me. Anyways, let's have a prescription to party. I definitely hope that you are having something to celebrate this weekend because according to new research, it is good for your health. A paper published by the Journal of Public Policy and Marketing says that in order for your celebration to bring health benefits, it requires these three components. Number 1, gathering with other people. Number 2, having food and drink. Number 3, highlighting the important milestone. And the peer-reviewed publication says that the celebration reinforces our social support and provide reassurance to us that we have a social network for when adversity strikes. The lead author said that they found that buying yourself a congratulation gift to celebrate the accomplishments just isn't the same as celebrating with dinner and drinks with friends. And the celebration don't need to be extravagant to be beneficial. It just needs to mark the occasion with food or drink and the company of others. This was actually brought to you by the restaurant industry. Now I'm joking as I say that. So if you ever celebrate a birthday with guys that I grew up with, you know that there's obviously no health benefits involved whatsoever. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there. And then that's why, dear, that I had to spend our 10th anniversary at a bowling alley because I guess there was some reason on why we needed to celebrate.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
So listen to this real quick. I was able to find this, and I thought it was kind of interesting. According to a consultation with 9 expert websites, here are the top 5 best songs from the 1980s. At number 5, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. At number 4, Africa by Toto. At number 3, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. At number 2, it's Take On Me by Aha. And the number 1 song, according to this great report, is Sweet Dreams Are Made of These by the Eurythmics, not the Marilyn Manson version, so let's not get confused. So I see nothing here from Eddie Rabbitt, therefore these are called Experts Are Dead to Me. I mean, I don't know. Some things to think about as we are talking. That is for sure. Anyways, 51 minutes past top of the hour. I think it is time for us to be motivated by John Smalls, who actually does a show in the afternoon here on Radio Big. So take a listen to what he has to say.
Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Troy. Nicholas Sparks said, "The best love is the kind that awakens the soul and makes us reach for more, that plants a fire in our hearts and brings peace to our minds. And that, my friends, is what true love is." Nicholas Sparks has several books that have been made into movies. Now, one of the most famous is The Notebook. My wife was going to see that in the theater with a friend of hers, and they asked if I wanted to come along. I had no idea what this movie was. I just agreed to spend time with my wife. I was literally the only man in the theater. But I think I cried more than any of the ladies. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. It hit close to home. What a film, and what a great example of love. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. One aspect of health that doesn't get too much attention is the idea of neuroprotection. Something that does not necessarily boost cognitive function, but creates a protection for your brain from toxins and other damaging compounds. One such food that creates protection for the brain from stress and alcohol is pomegranate. This fruit has polyphenols that generate a postbiotic component that goes into the brain and activates protection from oxidative damage and clearing of buildup that blocks synapses, or the bridges between neurons. A study published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences analyzed how small amounts of pomegranate juice in concentrated form positively impacted neuroprotection and aided the brain in dealing with oxidative damage and stress. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. The thing that makes betrayal so devastating is because it is someone we love and trust who betrays us. It could not be otherwise, or would not be betrayal. And no one can wound us like those we know and love. Maybe you were betrayed by an unfaithful spouse, or a parent who stole your innocence, or a friend who let you down. Whatever the case, my heart goes out to you. You have lived with the knowledge that your spouse or your parent or your friend is not the person you thought they were, not the person they pretended to be. Psalm 41:9 says, "Even my close friend whom I trusted has lifted up his heel against me." Lord Jesus, heal those who have been betrayed. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
It's the show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour as we are talking. Take a listen to this. Walmart is breaking up a little bit more bearable this Valentine's Day. Trey Thomas has the explanation.
The retail giant is selling a plush bear with a pretty clear message. It sings and dances to NSYNC's Bye 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 while holding a broken heart and wearing a shirt that reads Bye Bye. The caption of a tweet advertising the relationship-ending stuffed animal says it's cuter than a breakup text. The breakup bear is available on Walmart's website for about $17. I'm Trey Thomas.
So there you go, the breakup bear. That's something to talk about. Anyways, bond is set for $200,000 for a woman charged for concealing the death of her elderly mother on Chicago's North Side. Trey Thomas reports.
Prosecutors say Ava Bratcher hid her dead mother's body in a freezer for nearly 2 years before it was discovered by police on Monday. The cause of death isn't yet known because the remains were frozen. Bratcher noted on a house calendar that her 96-year-old mother died on March 4th, 2021. An ID with Bratcher's photo and her mother's name on it was also found in the home. I'm Trey Thomas.
Now, here's my question for you. Why would you put that on a calendar? Like, you don't remember that? I mean, that seems pretty weird. And then keeping your family member in a freezer? Oh, things get strange all the time. Anyways, family and friends gathered in West Baltimore on Thursday to remember Maya Morton, the young mother killed in the mass shooting last Saturday. Maya's sister, Shay, is devastated by the loss.
She heartfelt, and I'm heartbroken. Like, I want people to know that they broke my family. They broke me, my heart.
The 23-year-old Morton and her 2 young sons were in a car waiting for carryout when gunfire erupted in Pennsylvania Avenue, killing a 43-year-old man. Morton tried to drive away but was shot and crashed her car. She died on Monday. Morton's 3-year-old and 14-month-old sons remained hospitalized. Investigators have released surveillance images of the suspect, and anyone with information is asked to call the police or Metro Crime Stoppers. Family of friend of Timothy Powell says that whoever shot Myra has no respect for life.
In which one time that was unheard of, because you would never touch a child or a mother in this city when it came to violence. But right now, they don't care.
Some very interesting stuff going on right there, that is for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some days to celebrate real quick. It's National Give Kids a Smile Day, the day the music died, National Women Physician Day, National Carrot Cake Day, National Golden Retriever Day, National Bubblegum Day, World Read Aloud Day, National Working Naked Day. Good luck with that. National Wear Red Today. I think I like that idea, the wear the red thing. Yeah, that sounds good to me. That is for sure. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those. My brother and I often laugh on how competitive we are, but I laugh more. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What TV show didn't get worse as it went on? Some answers in a recent poll are Breaking Bad, MASH, The Twilight Zone, Malcolm in the Middle, Schitt's Creek, and 6 Feet Under. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 85% of these are purchased by women. What are they? Valentine's Day card. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to the show. Would love to see you at Radio Big at the top of the hour. That's at radiobig.fm or the iHeartRadio app. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Think about that. There you go. I hope you enjoy your weekend. If I don't see you at the top of the hour, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.